Sense of Soul.
Hey Soul Seekers, it's Shanna. Journey with me to discover how people around the world awaken to their true sense of soul. Now go grab your coffee. Open your mind, heart, and soul.
It's time to awaken.
Today on Sense of Soul, we have Gerard Powell, leading consciousness entrepreneur, thought leader, philanthropist, and a public speaker whose mission is to transform lives. He is the author of the bestseller Truth Economics, The Science of Allowing Abundance Through Honesty, and the book Shit the Moon Said, A Story of Sex, Drugs, and Ayahuasca. He is also the founder of the Rhythmia Life Advancement Center, the go-to facility for a spiritual awakening experience. Located in Costa Rica, it is the largest medically licensed facility in the world to offer ayahuasca. And he's with us today to share his journey.
Sense of Soul.
Hey Soul Seekers, it's Shanna. Journey with me to discover how people around the world awaken to their true sense of soul. Now go grab your coffee. Open your mind, heart, and soul.
It's time to awaken.
Today on Sense of Soul, we have Gerard Powell, leading consciousness entrepreneur, thought leader, philanthropist, and a public speaker whose mission is to transform lives. He is the author of the bestseller Truth Economics, The Science of Allowing Abundance Through Honesty, and the book Shit the Moon Said, A Story of Sex, Drugs, and Ayahuasca. He is also the founder of the Rhythmia Life Advancement Center, the go-to facility for a spiritual awakening experience. Located in Costa Rica, it is the largest medically licensed facility in the world to offer ayahuasca. And he's with us today to share his journey.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for joining me.
Very glad to be here.
I'm super excited to be with you today. I was so excited because I have had a hell of a last 30 or so days. And I haven't really been podcasting. I've had to cancel a lot of people. Yeah.
Where do you live, Shanna?
I'm in Colorado.
Uh-huh. And in what part there?
So I'm like Southeast Aurora.
Oh, nice.
Mhm.
And how are you doing? You okay?
I'm doing okay. My partner's in the hospital with Cespis, and
Oh, Jesus.
it's been a long road. Thank goodness for the tools that I had prior, because it's really helped me get by. And I think that is so important for me to continue what I'm doing so I can share that if anything.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Have you been here?
Oh, God, no, but I really wish I was.
You should be my guest. Come now. Come now. Yeah. It can really make a difference at times like this. This
Yes.
is the times of the greatest growth, are what I've seen in people. The greatest growth are in times like this if they have very hard times. Yes, sweetheart. Yes. Yeah.
And I know that your journey also has kind of a pain to purpose story as well.
Yeah. Rough times.
Tell me about you, Jerry. Tell me your
So
journey.
I'm really a regular kind of guy that had I had a harder upbringing than average, but not horrible. Like nobody killed anybody or anything like that. So I had a challenging upbringing, and I was a challenging kid. I had, ADD before it was diagnosable, and I was getting thrown out of schools left and right, and always in trouble, always in trouble. And I ended up getting kicked out of all the schools in my area, and so I left high school in my the year before junior year, and I never graduated. And as it turns out, I was okay at business. I became a millionaire in my 20s, and back then $1 million was a lot of money. This was in the 80s, yeah. And I took a company public, and at 43, I sold a company for $90 million that I was the largest shareholder in and the founder and all that. I quit working at that time. But all the problems in my life that have been with me that whole time kind of bubbled up. I call money the great accelerant. Yeah. So whatever problems someone might be experiencing, if you throw money at it, those problems become very apparent. Yeah. And I was a horrible person. I was addicted to drugs, alcohol, horrible relationship style. I was constantly with new and different women, and just not good. My family relationships were strained. I was a bad person, but I was a good business person. And it's interesting because we're always looking at our worst parts, hopefully, to become better. But I lost my will to live because I thought, who has this much money and hates their life? When I would wake up, I'd be like, oh, fuck, not this again. Like I just thought, if there was a God, I used to all the time pray, if there's a God, I won't wake up tomorrow. If there's a God, I won't wake up tomorrow, And yeah, and it just got all over the place. And so one thing led to another, and I went to Passages, which was a rehab center in Malibu, California. And I met a great doctor, Dr. Jeff McNary, at that place. And he became my therapist for the next, I guess, 17 years. We're 17 years at it now. But in those first few years, I made very little progress. And one day I told him I was going to kill myself. And he said, you can't do that. And why don't you take a vacation? I took a vacation. And on that vacation, I met a woman through the serendipitous thing. And, she came and visited me there and told me about a friend of hers who tried this one type of plant medicine. And he sounded just like me. She said he was an asshole. He was, not good with women, problematic, alcohol, drugs, the whole thing. And she said he went to this place in a week, it transformed his life. And I didn't believe it, but I was out of options. I was just out of options. And I had spent the better part of $700,000 on rehab, therapy, the latest thing, this, that, and the other thing, health things, because I thought that might have been the issue and whatnot. And the whole thing evolved to a point that I ended up going to this plant medicine place in Costa Rica. And in one evening of a 7-night stay, in one evening, I saw why I was the way that I was. And I forgave myself for who I was. And that started this process that is still ongoing. But it was the turning point in my life, was this place. And I had this most amazing ceremony. In a follow-up ceremony to that ceremony, this, what I believe is God, came to me and said, hey, you have to do this for other people, that your life wasn't a mistake, that I've put you through all that so that you could do this. And, I choose you to do this one particular thing for me. And I said, yes, because for the first time in my life, I was okay with being alive. So life was, it was okay. And, over the next 12 years, whatever it's been since then, that was in 2014. So yeah, 12 years. Since then, I don't do any drugs. I don't drink alcohol. And I did for a long time. I continued to drink alcohol, but less and less every year until there was no more. I don't smoke cigarettes. I was addicted to cigarettes. I don't take any kind of pills. I was addicted to pills. I only take supplements and some stem cells and things like that, but nothing of a medical nature at all. That's not true. I take a stomach pill for cholesterol. That's all I take. That's prescribed. So, like my whole life has gone through this radical shakeup, and I continue in this journey to learn more and more and more, and to hopefully evolve and to become a better person. When I say a better person, I don't mean like getting a star from God. I mean by becoming a beneficial presence to others. That's what I call that thing. And that I've learned so much. Initially, my burdens were so much that I went into this joyous phase. Uh-huh. And then the burdens of life catch you again. And how this life that we live, I'm 62 now, but the life that we live, like we start to understand that all these parts are part of us, and that all of them are beautiful, even the hardest, darkest, most challenging. That was the God, I'm talking a lot, but that was one of the things that I would always pray for, because I felt so beat up. I would pray for ease. I would pray for comfort. I'd pray for like peace and ease. And when will it stop? And the thing is, what I have come to learn, that these cycles of awareness, and then we go down a new road, and that road brings pain, and that pain is on purpose, and then a new awareness, and it's a constant thing. And if you can be aware of it when you're in it, there's a peace and a joy and a satisfaction that can happen in all parts of it. That it's just not the sleigh ride, but it's carrying that sleigh up the hill and falling down and hitting your face and being rejected and being made fun of for falling. And like, this is all part of it. It's all exactly what, like, there's not a doctor in the world who could write a prescription that's more accurate for your evolution than your own life. It's this beautiful prescription, and it's hardest on the days that it's hardest. But if you can be aware of it while in those hardest of hard days, it starts to become super satisfying. So I always talk to people about like satiation feels like. I never knew, like, you could get drunk so drunk you saw three people and it wasn't drunk enough, and make so much money that you couldn't spend it. But I found out you can always spend it. but there's like, it just was never that. I couldn't have sex through it. I couldn't get money and have that do it. I couldn't have notoriety do it. Nothing would do it for me. And yet, understanding these cycles and then helping other people is the great. So when we go from I need relief, changes in that moment, that, and when we can remember these things, and like being aware, people talk about awareness all the time, and I never even really honestly understood what the hell they were talking about. I didn't get it. But for us, if we can be aware of these cycles and know where we're at, and sometimes I get caught in this cycle and I'm thinking, how fucking bad is this going to get? Am I near the top?
Yeah.
Like, is this what the hell? Who's walking through the door next? I got, what problem is in the process of exploding that, but when I catch myself and I realize that I'm in the process and I allow it, then I go right up the hill and go over the thing. So it's like that and helping others are the two big things. That's what's provided the greatest relief for me, you know?
Yeah. I share that mission as well, and that I have learned through my challenges. You know, it's so interesting how you said when you can catch that, because it's something I've been saying a lot lately. You're right, with life's challenges and when you're in the chaos, it's easy to get lost in it. But if you can catch it, if you can catch that thought that goes by that says you don't matter or you're not doing enough, if you can catch that, if you could really become the witness of it in that moment, you've won
You did right then.
right then. And you've regained that power instead of surrendering to the chaos. You've, you're in the driver's seat again.
So true. So,
Yeah.
so, so true.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And
Yeah.
I love that. I love that you like that's part of what you see and you recognize because this pattern recognition stuff, and I wish somebody taught me this when I was
True.
younger. It's just so crazy that we teach children everything but that. Like just to that you're going to be doing some stuff that you're going to continue to do. And when you see it more than twice, pay attention. Like simple things you could teach kids that at least create recognition of these things, Yeah.
Yeah. I've been working on that with my youngest daughter. She's 13 and 13. I forgot what it was to have a 13-year-old daughter. I had had one before. She's now 26, but
Ah,
I've been telling her to catch those thoughts and to speak to herself like she would her best friend, to catch those negative thoughts and to love that part of herself. Yeah.
that's amazing stuff to tell. And I think kids get an idea that from the media, usually advertising and things like that, that life should be all, rainbows and rocket ships and, shopping sprees. And
Yeah.
like the real truth of it is that life doesn't even happen there. It happens in the grit, in this thing.
Yeah.
And all of the good stuff is in that grit, all of it. Amazing.
And the growth, right? And the growth.
Yes.
I know anytime I'm faced with challenges, I'm like, okay, what will I learn from this? It's almost like climbing a really tall mountain to find yourself sometimes at the bottom of the next one, and
Yep.
knowing that you are only getting stronger with each mountain and only looking back to see how far you've come.
Yeah. I really do believe that even the real chosen ones, like the Christ and the Buddhas and the Dalai Lamas and all these people, if not one of them had an easy go of it, not one of them, right? The Chinese proverb, right? May you live in interesting times, can be like translated to say, hey, I hope your life is filled with challenges,
Yeah.
because a life, an easy life, uh, I don't even know if anybody ever gets one. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them, you know.
Hmm. I don't know why this is popping up for me, but it's just on my soul to ask you. I used to ask this question a lot, and I haven't in a long time. But one time I asked Neil Donald Walsh this, and he really killed it. So I'm going to challenge you.
Oh,
Uh,
he's a great one.
yeah. Yes. If you had to describe your soul today, how would you describe your soul?
So I want to say something. I've had 352 plant medicine journeys. Uh-huh. The more that I do, the less that I know. Uh-huh. So the more that I do, honestly, the less that I know. I know that these certain things are reinforced by it, but the rest of the mysteries are mysteries, and they will be mysteries during this lifetime for me, right? But the origin of the soul, or what is the soul, I don't know what it is, but I know its characteristics, right? It's the thing in me that was here before me. It's the thing in me that'll be here after me. It's the thing in me that's in common with everybody else. I have uniquenesses. My my handprint is different, and my iris print is different. My proportions are different, but my soul is like. So the thing that makes us all the same is that thing, and it's such a mysterious and odd thing that hey, I've never been born, I'll never die, that I'm the temporary thing, but me is not. Uh-huh. That like this thing, and it's hard to get, but you see it a lot in plant medicine. You see that if the soul was an ocean and we all are carrying a cup, that's the thing. It's the exact same water that you have. Uh-huh. When I read the Constitution where it says that everybody is equal, I completely disagree with that, because on Earth we're not equal. You might look prettier than me. I might be a better baseball player than you. Our IQs are different. Our bodies are different. LeBron James is 10 times the athlete we could ever be. So we're not equal, but our souls are. And this is the thing. So if we're here and our souls are here, if our souls are a higher vibratory uh, uh, entity than us, and we're all part of that, and that is the same, then all of us are created equal. That is where that, I believe, comes from. So the soul thing is interesting one, you know, but it's something I see out there often. I'm going to tell you an anecdotal story. So I sometimes go down these rabbit holes with the medicine that, if everything is good in my life, I might get real wild and say, like, show me the face of God or something wild, just to do it. And I thought one day I asked to see the face of God, and I got put into this operating room, and the operating room had 30 or 40-foot drapes, and it was in the round. And in the middle of this thing was a table, an operating table. And when you were in the presence of this draped off thing, the love that you felt, I was crying in my journey, because I was just experiencing this love that transcends words. And when I could focus on what was going on in the operating table, a insect I couldn't describe was like a surgeon operating on a praying mantis. And I thought,
I knew you were
what
going to say that. I like totally
is
saw
that
it.
true?
I'm very visual, so I'm like visualizing this. And I saw a praying mantis first, and you said you didn't know that. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, you're
Like
amazing.
when that
So
happens.
in that moment, and I thought, if these little bugs are the face of God, then everything must be, every single thing must be the face of God, right? Every pen that we hold or tree that you see, it's all the face of God. All of it. It's everywhere.
Yeah, you know what? I also love that you mentioned that of all the how many ayahuascas have ceremonies have you done?
353, I think, is the right number.
Okay, wow. That's pretty amazing. But something you said I can really, really connect with. You said that, well, this is how I was receiving it. that the more you've done, the less you know. And
100% true.
yeah, you know what I feel? I've been experiencing something similar. The deeper I get into this journey, the less I hold on to beliefs.
Mhm.
And so the less I know, actually, in many ways. And I have found just to allow myself just to not hold on so tightly to any belief
Right.
because I never know when I'm going to expand or I'm going to change my mind. And I think that right now, looking at the world, that's really something I'm seeing that's difficult. That's a big challenge for people. People are just really right or left, right or
Yes.
so,
Yes.
all these things. You know what I mean? And now, although I have much respect for many things and I can pull things out of every single place I learn from, it's like I don't hold on too tightly anymore because I feel like the same as you. It's like the more I know, the less I know.
Interesting, right? And
Ah,
there's such beauty in the Christian religion. There is, and there's so much beauty in Christ. But when you take a look at the whole thing and you say, okay, Christianity, there's 35 different types. If you go to any tradition, if you go to the ayahuasca tradition, there's 9 different types. If you go to the Iboga tradition, there's 7 different types. If you go to the Muslim tradition, if you go to Judaism, there's so many different. And what do they all have in common? They
right.
think theirs is the only way. That's what's in common. And they might be right, all of them. Interesting.
It
Right?
is interesting. So, I've never done ayahuasca. So I've played a lot with mushrooms and other things, but I've always wanted to. And here in Colorado, actually, supposedly, it is maybe not legal. I forget how it's
Decriminalized is
actually
the word.
criminalized.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely something that I feel is such a sacred thing that I would never want to just take it. Hey, if I can pick it up from somebody and do it on my own. I feel like these things need to be treated more as ceremony,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about ayahuasca.
So ayahuasca at Rhythmia is different, and I want to tell you what makes it different. Yes. So number one, Rhythmia has 200 employees. What I noticed when I first did these medicines, I was invited to other places to do them. The the set and setting is everything.
Mm,
And the medicine itself is, if it's done properly, is overwhelming. Now, to be overwhelmed by the medicine and at the same time be in a jungle or being spoken to in a language you don't understand, it can really push it too far. So we created a place where the medicine is done in a traditional manner. Uh-huh. But you have clean beds, beautiful rooms, a swimming pool, great food, yoga, meditation, breath work, class work programming around this, one-on-one counseling, group counseling. Like there's all of this that goes into the week that's familiar, so that the journey itself doesn't become overwhelming. Now, I say it's familiar. It's the hardest week's work you'll ever do because you're getting catapulted into a mirror of self. And it's really, really a lot. There's a lot of crying. There's a lot of, a lot of pain, because you're transmuting maybe 40 years worth of pain in a week. But ayahuasca is many things to many different people. But the greatest definition of the word that I've heard is in the Colombian basin of Putumayo, where the word ayahuasca, the meaning of it is the vine of the dead. So that ayahuasca event is the death process without physical death. It feels like you're dying. And it is the death process. And parts of you do die. in that event, but it's the parts that, and I hate because it's so cliche, but the parts that are no longer serving are the parts that go first.
I want to comment on that real quick. I had one time here in Colorado, Denver, I'd went to a cacao ceremony and it was a young Costa Rican shaman and
Aha,
he was on like a mission, and what he said, I will never forget. He said, "We experience our first death when we leave our mother's breast."
yep,
And he really changed my view on that transition being here. We see it so final and it's so depressing and there's so much grief and all that. And he really made me shift and see it from a different perspective. That
how
transition,
beautiful.
very beautiful.
Yeah.
So I like
And
the death process.
I love it too because that's what it is. And the real good stuff in ayahuasca happens, and it's scary, is when you leave your body and you're looking at your body and
Mm.
you're going. That process removes the fear of death from your normal life. So like when you've died and you know that this thing keeps going. And I really believe that subconsciously, until you have a death experience,
Mhm.
your almost all of your thoughts are controlled by the fear of death.
Yeah.
And once that goes away, if death is not the worst thing that can happen to you, and
Mhm.
maybe one of the best things, then life can be lived because you're not in fear of dying.
Right.
So you get to maybe love a little differently than you would and be vulnerable more than it might make sense. Because when we're in that fear, and that's what I see leave people. So when they leave rhythmia, they're leaving without fear. And and
Yeah.
that is great. And then that starts a whole new process, right? The life without fear.
Okay, so my best friends had two near-death experiences. And so I always feel like I can't completely understand what she's feeling. So I got to catch up and do your and come to Rhythmia so I could be like, yeah, now we understand.
I would love if you came,
Yeah.
honestly.
I mean, it sounds amazing. And is it that, do you believe it's that DMT drop or the D is it the DMT? Can we talk about that? That is,
Sure.
yeah.
And here's another thing I don't know. So like
Yeah.
I have done, straight DMT, smoked DMT, and the experience of ayahuasca in its wholeness
Mm.
is a different experience than DMT isolated. Now they look a lot alike at certain parts, but there's something in the combination of the plants that make ayahuasca that feels like I honestly feel that you can, if you're not careful, that if you're smoking 5-MeO or something, uh, you can actually do some damage to the light body because
Mm.
it's so much so quick
Yeah.
that that it it's hugely overwhelming.
But you're
So
supported. You said you have 200 employees there, so you're completely surrounded by support,
so
love.
yeah, so
Care.
so what I think is that's what I say it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Smoking DMT can be just way too much too quick. So the ayahuasca, which is the combination of the two plants and has all of the other parts of the plants in it,
Mm.
is a smoother, more gradual elevation to that point than is the DMT experience, in my opinion. Now, there are tons of what they call psychonauts out there that say, oh no, smoking the DMT is the greatest thing. And it all depends too what your intentions are. So if your intentions are purely to explore, I believe that there's no bounds. Try whatever you want to try, explore, explore, explore. But if you're trying to solve some of the mysteries of the soul, or trying to get a better footing in your everyday life, then ayahuasca is a great. I find it to be the greatest of all the teaching plants. Is the tea of ayahuasca to be great. I really do myself.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, I've heard there's, with each medicine or each plant, there is it's its own vibe, right? It's its own
yes,
and its own dimension, I would even.
yes.
And I've also heard sometimes people will, after talking, hey, this happened to me. Oh my gosh, you saw that? I saw something like that. Um,
Ah,
can you speak on that? Because I've heard
yeah, I can.
that quite
And
quite a few times.
that's one of my favorite things. So what makes Rhythmia kind of cool is that, so you got to figure 20,000 people have been here.
Wow.
Uh-huh. 80,000 unique ceremonial experiences. Uh, so we see a lot of commonalities, right?
Yeah.
And what's great about our will to survive, our earth will to survive, is our pattern, our ability for pattern recognition, right? So like, hey, don't touch the stove, and that, like, I did that once. So we can identify these patterns. And when you see stories that are similar, and
Mhm.
I mean the same, people are seeing the same thing
Yeah.
and talking to the same being, and
Mm.
getting the same story, and like they're all coming back with the same thing. Not all, but I'm going to say there's probably 20 themes out of the 80,000 that are 80% of the time the most common. So the same beings, the same thoughts, the same, I'm everything and I'm
Same
nothing.
place.
Uh-huh. Is a big, big, big theme, how you're everything and you're nothing at the same time. I mean, you're huge and small at the same time.
Mm.
It's a real common one. The praying mantis is a very common one
Really?
for whatever reason. Yeah. And uh, these beings, the mother coming to you, the mother of the grandmother, is a very common one. But the talk is much the same.
Mm.
That all of these little things of life are insignificant, and that this love is omnipotent. It's the biggest thing, and that the closer we remain to nature in the natural order of things, the easier our life will be. So when we make false concessions, like whatever doesn't involve love-based natural selection, that things aren't going in a way that they should go. Uh-huh. Uh, the further we remove ourselves from that, the harder the snapback is. So in other words, if I want to create a thing where in my world, I want everybody to bow to me. I
Mm.
want them to be afraid of me and bow to me. Well, if I'm not the person who deserves that, and I'm imposing a non-natural sense of order amongst others who do that, then the repercussion of that is going to be very hard. It's not going to happen when they all want it to happen, but it will happen and it will be hard. So the further we get away from the natural order of things, the more lessons we're going to learn. Uh-huh.
Mm.
So I always try to stay to the best that I can, or aware of what that natural order is. That all people have value, and forcing a tree to act like a wolf is not going to work.
Mm.
You have to kill the tree and carve it out of the dead wood in order to make that tree a wolf. And it's an inanimate, well, it's not going anywhere. So by allowing people to be what they naturally are,
Mhm.
and then for those people to be aware that in order to survive on Earth, they might have to bend from their natural order to conform to Earth order, because there's this celestial order where I don't have to work, I don't have to, I'm going to be fed by the sun, I'm going to da 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 da. And then there's the Earth thing of, hey, you got to get out and plant some food and then watch it and then water it and then harvest it, and then you got to do all that shit. But that's part of the natural order too, that we have to work for our food. I get a charge out of people that say, housing is a birthright. Well, it's not. Like if you
Right.
were dropped into a jungle, nothing is a birthright. You have to go and make your house, and you have to go and get your food. Like nobody picks the berry and runs over and throws it in your mouth. You have to go and pick the berries, and then, you know what I mean? There's this.
It'd be nice.
It would be, maybe in the next life that'll happen.
I know. I say that often. Maybe in the next life.
And
Yeah, that's so true. And I think that right now, I don't know in Costa Rica, but here in Colorado, we have all four seasons, and I tell you, nature has been one of my greatest teachers for sure. It can't hold on to those leaves. It has to surrender, it has to let go. I mean, I spend so much time with my trees and watch every step every day. Sometimes in one day, I've seen this transition into death, just on one branch, it's so amazing. Things happen that fast here in Colorado.
I love that. And I do miss four seasons. I do.
I
I
bet.
miss,
Yeah.
I loved to see snow and spring
Yeah.
flowers and that feeling of
Mm.
people wearing less clothes, like that, going
Yeah.
from shedding like your scarf and your hat,
Mm.
and wearing a t-shirt in that
Right. Got my
cold
flannel
sun.
on.
Yeah, like I just love that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's part of me that does miss that. Yeah.
I also, speaking of the tree, I mean, the deeper the roots, right, the stronger it is, and the higher, it can grow. And, how much is grounding and being able to, return back into your roots here on Earth after, ascending so far sometimes in those journeys.
Yeah, and that's one of the great lessons too, right? Because that's what we're doing in our life. We
Yeah.
just came from that journey and we got squeezed out into this, and that's like where what happened? I was warm, fed, I knew God, and now all of a sudden I'm on my own. So I
Mm.
feel. So that's kind of this journey, and that's part of the plant medicine journey, is that, hey, I was there. So I have a great friend that started the Agape Spiritual Center
Mhm.
in Los Angeles, and his name is Michael Beckwith, and he's one of the best speakers I know. He's on my board, and he's really a good guy. This is the thing, and he's a guy's guy. He's like a really great kind of masculine, a beautiful guy.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Uh, but he always says, "Look, if you go to heaven, if you go to the astrals, uh, and you come back to Earth empty-handed, it was worthless." The whole idea is to bring some of that here. So when you bring it down and not, so one of the first things that happens to people when they do the medicine is they get, holy shit, I saw God. I spoke to God and you haven't. I know more than you know. That's the first phase of this, right? And they become really, not all people, but some people become very pompous for a short time. And
Yeah.
that's not bringing down the highest parts. That's bringing down the lowest parts
Mm.
of it, right? So as we get to do this more often, and we see that this thing that you want to bring is compassion. The thing that you want to bring is closeness to nature. The thing that you want to bring. Then when you're coming back and you're taking it here with you, now
Mm,
that's cooking. Yeah.
that's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
yeah. I understand that. I feel that too. Because it's funny. It's like one of those things where I remember when I first started having synchronicities like crazy, I was like, holy shit, I must be like blessed by God. He's letting
Yes.
me like the hugest signs, and it was so magnificent. So I understand that feeling, like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm special. This is special.
Uh-huh.
And then you realize, I mean, now, I'm grateful for them, very grateful for them. I lean into them. And there is like this an awakening period that and I've seen it a lot with people where they have this very powerful gift that they're given, and the ego comes in and says, "Oh yeah, look at us."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's the oneness that you would eventually understand, like, oh wow, like you are divine and so am I, and we're all part of the divine.
Very true.
Yeah.
Super true.
So I was looking on your website, actually, I was stalking you pretty good this morning and listening to your talks and other interviews. And, I mean, I seriously was like, oh my God, I would love to go to this place and I have to put it on my bucket list. Hey,
Please come.
I will be 50 next year. I'll do something special.
Great.
I'll gift myself a trip, which I never go anywhere because, my hands are so full. But, you know, doing something for yourself for a week out of your year. Can you believe? Oh my God, how selfish.
Yeah.
If I would take some of the money that I've wasted so much on things that really don't serve me and, spend on my health, that could be like, it sounds like there's been people who have been transformed and lifetime changes at
Absolutely.
Rhythmia.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I mean, then this is the truth. So when people leave, they write or they electronically uh get this survey. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And 97.12, so 971 out of every 1,000 people that come through say they had a life-changing miracle during their stay. And then at 6 months, 90.22%. So 900 out of every 1,000 say that this was the week that changed their life. So like this is a life changing. And when I say that, that includes all medical issues, that includes business issues they're having, a lot of relationship issues, a lot like whatever the thing is that they're having, because there's no physical issue that is not a response to a spiritual issue. There's
I
not.
agree with you.
And there's not. There's nothing I've ever seen. Nothing.
I just told my partner that the other day because he was in the hospital and he's fighting this infection in his body. And
Yeah.
I said, even though I don't hold on to a lot of beliefs, the one thing that I know is that we're multidimensional. And
Uh-huh.
yes, fixing your body is important, but as is the mind, how positive you are, and and that you believe that you can do this, but even more forgotten that we are divine beings that have infinite possibilities that are actually incomprehensible really to the mind and to the body and the people working on you. So get rid of all those limitations. I believe that we've been kept in a small box and we need to bust out of that.
I believe you're right. I do.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it. And I swear I'm gonna get off of this call today and I'm gonna text my best friend and say, hey, you want to have another close to near death experience and go with me to Costa Rica and meet
Please.
Mr. Jerry Powell.
Both you and her will be my guest.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you, the funny thing is that when we need a break like this the most, is that it's at the time that it's the hardest to say yes to the break. But that's what we have to overcome to do it, because if we wait to the time that we can go, we don't need it then. We need it now. We need it when we can't go, when everything's falling apart, when that's the time that you're most accessible to it. That is the time when you're in your deepest, I'm gonna say, pain or confusion or personal struggle, whatever the thing is, that is the time. It's not when we've conquered. It's not on this side. This isn't where. This is where. That's when, and that's when nobody can go, except those that say, the hell with it, I'm going, and everybody's going to have to deal with it. So
that's right. What you said. I'm going to play this for my family. Everyone sit down. Because if mama ain't good, nobody good. Okay.
Right.
That's for sure.
And there's truth in that.
There is. Yeah. You have to. God, you have just lifted my spirits today. Thank you so much. I so needed this conversation. I knew that I did.
I'm
And
so happy you had me, and I loved meeting you, Shem. Like, loved it. Yeah.
thank you so much. I love what you're doing. I love that you turned your pain into purpose and you followed the call. And thank you for what it's truly amazing. I really would love to, visit you. I hope that I can.
Please do.
Yeah, I'll even go live, so
Fantastic.
my listeners can
Come.
That would be amazing. Tell everybody, if they wanted to go, where do they go to find out more? Your website, plug yourself.
It's www.rhythmia.com, and just go in and take a look and see what we offer and who all comes, and I'm sure you'll be amazed, honestly.
Yeah. I know you've had some pretty big people there. I was
A lot of
listening
people
to your
coming.
videos and like, holy moly. Yeah, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
And this is a great time for that. So
It's the right time.
yeah, it's the right time for sure. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you. And
All
I'm
right.
waiting to see you here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be there with my little beach hat and everything.
Come down.
All right. Thanks, Jerry.
Hey, soul seeker, are you curious? Are you hungry to know? Do you have eyes that now see? Do you have ears that can hear? Have you discovered your sense of soul? You're more than you know, more than a body, more than the thoughts that echo in your mind. You've got that sense of soul. You are awakened. Turn your pain into purpose. Climb that mountain and only look back to see how far you've come. Share your story, you'll find you're not alone. Find that light within. Discover that sense of soul.
Sense of soul.